here and just couldn't get himself to the CrossFit Games. Finally did that a couple years ago. And we are underway, final heat of first cut.
And you know what they say, Sean, the first cup is usually the deepest. And I think that is true in this case today.
And a lot of these athletes who are out here in this final heat, quite a few of them have games experience. A lot of them were fixtures at the regional level as well. So we expect to see more men in this heat finish this event. Again, so far only 14. Ben Smith in the first heat was the only guy to do it. 13 men finished it in heat number 2. None did it faster than James Newberry, who has the time to beat 16 minutes, 21.19 seconds.
I think Ben Smith just 7 seconds behind him all the way from heat 1. And Sean is saying 14 finished. Let's put that in perspective. Out of 100 people who have already taken the field, only 14 people have finished. So I think that this is kind of lending to the idea is that on paper, this really doesn't look that bad. When you look at the numbers of 400-meter run, 4 rounds, 3 rope climbs, 7 seconds. This is a devastating event. And I love having the perspective out there of seeing 86 athletes not able to complete it in the time cap, showing you how difficult this really is.
Well, and it reminds me of some of the open workouts where there's a good chunk of people that can do the work, but then there's a small chunk of people that can do the work really fast and really well, and that's what we're seeing here.
Just about all the athletes are back inside the stadium after their initial 400-meter run, and now it is on to those 3 legless rope climbs before 7 squat snatches at 185 pounds. Jason Smith was the first guy back in, but he had the furthest distance to travel as he had to go all the way back down the field. You have to go back to your nameplate once you get back inside the stadium. There's Matt Fraser.
I feel like this is the toughest round to kind of approach because having very little time to practice this, you have some semblance of how long a round might take, especially when you have Ben Smith leading the charge in heat 1, being able to see that. But managing your work in the first 3, because you have cuts looming over your head, you're in a heat of the 50 fittest individuals in the entire world, everybody's starting out hot, everybody's starting out fast. Managing that first round is going to be the most important part of this event.
Here's the thing, you finish this event, you're moving on. That's pretty guaranteed at this point. Matt Fraser was one of the first men onto the barbell working on his first set of 7 squat snatches. Sean Sweeney, who is in the background, he's wearing a white hat. He was second. Pat Vellner is there. He's in front of Sweeney. He's towards the top of your screen. And then Cole Sager is on the upper left-hand part. He's wearing that green shirt. But Matt Fraser just continuing to do what he does, work away methodically on this barbell as he looks to put the finishing touches on round 1, and he is done. He will move his chest piece and head back out for his second 400-meter run. Pat Vellner and Sean Sweeney, top of your screen, they are done as well.
The thing that these athletes need to know and understand in terms of what this event is going to dictate is being methodical, as you just said, but being near perfect technique-wise. There is no room for sloppiness in this event because of the rope climbs themselves. 3 back-to-back at that height, legless, is going to blow up your grip, it's going to blow up your shoulders, and if you have any type of mechanical flaw on the snatch, it's going to get exposed later down the road.
Well, both of those movements are movements where one missed rep is not just a missed rep like a toe-to bar. We're talking about a lot of effort that goes into especially a legless rope climb. That's a lot of energy lost if you miss a rep on the legless rope climb and even a heavy snatch.
Sean Sweeney in the lead here on this second 400-meter run, but not by much. Pat Vellner right behind him, and Matt Fraser has made up some ground. There are your top 3 at this point. Now Fraser looking like he's moving ahead of Pat Vellner for second place as they put the finishing touches on their second of 4 400-meter runs. The rest of the field getting back out there. Travis Mayer is one of them. Yonakoski also in this heat. Chandler Smith is in the background. He sits in 4th place. Jason Smith is behind him. But these are your top 3 from left to right. Matt Fraser, Sean Sweeney, and Pat Vellner.
I think you can't see, but just by looking on camera, is what it feels like to be out there. I was out there earlier. There's no clouds out here, and it's Madison and it's cool, but that sun gets hot, and it gets hot very quick. When you think about running to those mats with a black tarp on them, running out to the competition floor where it's field turf, where it just sucks in heat from the sun, that heat factor almost becomes disorienting as the event goes on.
Matt Fraser first back to the rope for the second of 4 times. He has 3 legless rope climbs to complete. Pat Vellner there as well, and Sean Sweeney. They are your top three in this third and final heat of First Cut, the opening event of the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games for the individuals. Usually you see Sean Sweeney competing in a cowboy hat, and he's going with the backwards baseball cap.
I think Reebok has started making those yet, so won't get to see it at the games this year.
Once they make the Reebok Nano 10 gallon, he'll have that thing on. Pat Vellner is done with his second round of rope climbs, and he will move on to the barbell. Vellner, Fraser, and Sweeney still your top three. Fraser to work first on his second set of 7 185-pound squat snatches.
And this is where efficiency in the movement is so vital to the success of this particular event. Something like a snatch in itself is the most technically demanding lift that we have in CrossFit and weightlifting. Now throw that into a full depth squat, even more challenging. Put 185 pounds on the bar, we're just adding to the difficulty of this. So if you don't have the technique and if you don't have the efficiency, this becomes actually the biggest challenge for a lot of these athletes who don't have that.
Fraser tears through those 7. He's through 2 of 4 rounds. And now he starts round 3 with that 400-meter run out and around the stadium here at the Alliant Energy Center. The crowd coming to its feet as Fraser sheds the shirt, and he is all by himself.
But Pat Vellner actually just finished up his snatches. I think Fraser has a little bit of a lead on him, but he's holding tight to Matt's back right now.
The two men we expected to be fighting for the top of the podium, fighting for the top spot here in this third and final heat of the opening event. Fraser out first, Pat Vellner right behind him.
When you're talking about a 4-round event, there's always that round or that rep scheme that is the difference maker. You think about the 21-15-9, it's the 15. When you're talking about a 4-rounder, it's the 3rd round. It's kind of that no man's land. I call it the Tuesday of the week, right? I just finished Monday, Wednesday's hump day. Who cares about Tuesday, right? And that 3rd round is so vital in terms of staying focused and not looking ahead. Understanding of what you just did is not necessarily going to double in either terms of I feel good or I feel bad. And so that 3rd round is really going to be where they can ingrain what it is they're trying to achieve within this event in terms of pacing and tempo.
James Newberry has the time to beat, did that in the second of these 3 heats, 16 minutes, 21.19 seconds, and Matt Fraser is well ahead of that pace and looking to win his 10th career event at the CrossFit Games. Fraser in his career has never finished lower than 2nd overall. Now Sean Sweeney is on his run, and he has fallen well back of Fraser and Vellner, your leaders here, as they finish up their 3rd of 4 400-meter runs. Fraser took a quick look over his right shoulder to see where Vellner was. Fraser back in first, and Vellner right behind him.
And you could see on Sean Sweeney kind of the Tuesday that you were talking about setting in there, Chase. He looked a lot more labored on that 3rd run than he did on the 2nd one. So it'll be interesting to see if he can hold close to Vellner and Fraser on this round.
Matt Fraser now starting to lap some people in this 3rd heat. Here comes Chandler Smith. He qualified due to his finish at the Rogue Invitational in May, making his first appearance at the CrossFit Games. Sean Sweeney was in the background. He's coming back in, so he has fallen off the lead pace as Matt Fraser gets to work on his 3rd set of 3 legless rope climbs. Vellner trying to keep pace. He was in 2nd place behind Fraser as they started this 3rd round. 4 total rounds in this event, 20-minute time cap.
You're starting to see the laboring on that 3rd climb. It's that magic numbers. Like you can do 1, you can fake 2. But getting to that 3rd one after 3, that's number 9. You still got 3 more after this. That's the crazy part of it. I think a lot of these athletes maybe got shocked after that 2nd round based off of what those legless rope climbs felt like.
Just saw the time to beat that belongs to James Newberry as Matt Fraser gets to work on his 3rd of 4 sets of squat snatches at 185 pounds, 7 reps to complete. Chandler Smith back on the rope for his 3rd round of legless rope climbs.
Great little kip to touch on that one. That was a really well timed, where he finished that last strict pull and then went for that kip to touch the rogue rig there.
Now Vellner's starting to struggle with 185. He's going to fight that, and that's a no rep for Pat Vellner for the first time.
And that's the crazy thing about snatches at that certain weight, because you can fake it clean. You can have a low elbow catch. You can maybe not get your wrists in the right position. You can't do that with a snatch, especially at this weight. And I think it's that perfect weight that allows people to push the pace, but can hurt them if they push it too fast too soon.
And Matt Fraser is taking advantage, and he is done with 3 rounds, and you could see him taking a look at where Vellner was, and Fraser is now going to open up even more of a lead on Vellner as he starts his 4th and final round. Vellner fails another snatch.
The second one.
Cole Sager, meanwhile, left your screen. He's on his 3rd round.
This was the nervousness that I saw from the athletes who understood what this event was actually going to be like. Because when you throw something in, like high volume legless rope climbs, it's not even necessarily a fitness issue. It's a grip issue. And when that grip goes, you can be the strongest, fittest, most conditioned athlete in the entire world. It ain't coming back.
Yeah. Doesn't look like Matt Fraser's going to be coming back to the field because he is running away with this event. Now Chandler Smith and Bartek Lipka leaving the stadium. I believe Lipka is starting his 3rd round. So Chandler Smith is now in 2nd place. And here comes Pat Vellner, who is able to make up some ground. So he's got to reel in Chandler Smith. Now the good news for anybody who finishes inside the top 10 here is that there's only a 2-point differential between those spots. So if Vellner were to finish 3rd and Fraser were to win, he's only 4 points back. So that's fine at this point.
And let's talk about kind of Vellner's day 1, event 1,
history.
History. Right. Getting a 30th place, I'm not saying he's going to finish there, but maybe back it off a little bit because we don't want to fall down any more than we already are. Getting a 30th place finish in this event is not as detrimental as it was in years past in terms of the point system.
Absolutely not. Yeah, that's a good point. 45 points, you finished 30th. So you're still in there.
It's
a lot of points up for grabs later on.
And we got a long way to go.
Yep.
Make a good, you don't want to push yourself beyond the point of recovery in an event like this where you really just need to get up into the top 75 and do a little damage control. I'm not sure how Vellner feels coming into his 4th round, but what we saw at the end of the 3rd, what he has left to do, I hope there's not an onset of panic that may disrupt the tempo. He should probably just back off the throttle just a little bit. It's event 1.
Right, he's right where he needs to be. No reason to panic for Pat Vellner right now as Matt Fraser is back into the stadium for the 4th and final time, and he will get set to get to work on his 3rd and final set of 3 legless rope climbs as Chandler Smith now sits in 2nd place, and Chandler Smith and Pat Vellner back inside the stadium. So Vellner looks like he was able to make up some ground on that 400-meter run.
Vellner's actually had some very good runs each and every round. He's been able to make up a lot of ground.
Fraser with 2 to go. One legless rope climb left for Matt Fraser before 7 final squat snatches at 185 pounds and then that sprint across the finish line. Time to beat belongs to James Newbury, 16 minutes, 21.19 seconds. Looks like Fraser's going to track that down. Just saw Chandler Smith complete his first legless rope climb in this 4th and final round. Only 14 men so far have completed all this work inside the 20-minute time cap.
What has been so impressive to me on Matt Fraser, and we'll see if we can hold it on this last round, but he snatches, he drops the barbell, and a lot of these gentlemen are stepping back and then stepping to the barbell. He stays with his shins right against that barbell, puts his hands on it, grabs it, and goes again.
And now Fraser back to the barbell for the final time. 7 reps between Matt Fraser and his 10th career event win at the CrossFit Games. Pat Vellner, meanwhile, trying to overtake Chandler Smith for 2nd place in this heat. But Vellner is done, and he's going to be making his way to the barbell behind Matt Fraser. And Chandler Smith is done as well. They have to run all the way to the other end of the field to get to work. Meanwhile, Fraser continues to put the finishing touches on his event.
I love the heat that Chandler Smith is putting on Pat Vellner right now. He's 2 reps in, and I don't know that Pat has yet lifted that barbell once.
Different year, different format, different event, same result. Matt Fraser wins event number 1 in dominant fashion. Now the battle for second between Pat Vellner on the left, Chandler Smith on the right.
You know, the biggest problem we saw with Chandler Smith in his early years of competing is his confidence in himself and his ability to compete with the best in the field. Starting off an event 1 like this on the biggest stage of his life in terms of his CrossFit career, it's going to speak volumes for the weekend.
And there he goes. Chandler Smith will take second place in the event. That will be good for 98 points. Third place still up for grabs as James Newberry's top time of 16:21.19 seconds is now your third best, and Vellner has time to get inside of that. If he finishes third, he earns 96 points. So only 4 back on Matt Fraser, and now another no rep for Pat Vellner here. Less than 4 minutes to go before we hit the 20-minute time cap, and more men are making their way to the other side of the field now to start their third and fourth rounds of this event. So Vellner with a successful rep right there. He won't finish third. And he is in. We had it looks like some other athletes come across the finish line while we were watching Vellner. Scott Panchik came in, Gumanson, Adler, so a handful of men getting in ahead of Pat Vellner. We'll have to wait to the final results to see just exactly how many. But so far, 10 men in this heat have finished. Vellner right now would take 9th in the event. That's good for 84 points. So 16 back of Matt Fraser as Sean Sweeney is now on the barbell for the final time. But here are the men who have finished so far in this heat. Fraser, Smith, Scott Panchik, Bjorba, Gudmundsson, Adler, Cole Sager, Vellner, Fournier, Jason Smith, Travis Mayer, Hefner, Samuel Quant, Noah Olson, Jason Carroll, Logan Collins. They're all across the finish line. So many of the names that we have seen compete in the past are through this event, and they will be moving on. As once again, we're cutting the field down to 75 athletes after this test.
But there's still a good amount of time till the time cap. We have 2.5 minutes, so there's a good chance that almost all, if not all, of these gentlemen can finish this event.
Sean Sweeney will come across the finish line, 18th in this heat, 22nd in the event. That's 58 points.
And that's the thing, and you know, it's how fun is it where it's like, oh, I hope Vellner's okay, you'll be fine, you'll be fine. It's like, that's how good Matt Fraser is.
Right.
Is that you just made everyone look like something was wrong with them, of how much you were dominating this heat.
Still a top 10 finish for Pat Vellner, and given how he started competitions in the past, that's a huge win for him.
Huge win. And here we're, it's like, something's wrong. Poor Pat Vellner. I was like, oh, you got top 10, you're good.
You're
okay.
Fine. Yeah, nothing's wrong with Pat Vellner, because everything is right with Matt Fraser.
It is one of his best starts, but again, notoriously, the CrossFit Games have started with a water event, which Pat Vellner does not do well at. So hopefully, as we stated earlier, a water event doesn't come up later in the CrossFit Games.
So Jonakowski and Lucas Eschlinger, they also finished as well. Eschlinger taking 31st. Basically, if you get across the finish line here inside the 20-minute time cap, you are going to move on. More men coming across the finish line as you take a look at Lucas Hoegberg, the man who finished third place overall last year. His best career finish at the CrossFit Games was never lower than third overall that entire time in 2018. He had a heck of a competition here in Madison last year, but it's not going to start off there after this event, as Hoegberg will take 39th in the event, but still very much alive, as that is Willie Georges, a national champion from France, is across.
Alex Vigneault just came across.
And Cole Sager, as he always is back out on the field trying to get the crowd behind men like Eric Carmody, who's still on the field trying to get as many reps as he can as we approach the 20-minute time